Yeah. All right. So what should we? Do you want to cover this compact magazine story, or should we
Yeah, we
play
could cover
the?
that. I wanted to watch the Styxhexenhammer video. I was interested to see what your take is, because I feel like it's kind of awesome because Styx kind of schools these redditors about the occult, and I thought it was a very enjoyable video to watch.
All right, let's do it.
I like this. He has a lot of slight smirks in the video, like knowing smiles.
DM'd me wanting me to talk about this issue is quite large, and so I figured that I would make it the main video of the day. The Wiccans, the wannabe Wiccans over on Reddit are trying to curse Donald Trump or bind him or whatever the hell kind of new age bullshit they're trying to do. And they're expressing frustration because they believe that Donald Trump is under some form of magical protection. Let me give you a cue. Just because you spent $29.99 on the book by Greywater Ravencroft or whatever at the bookstore with the little special edition bookmark with the quartz crystal hanging off of it does not make you a witch. Just because you feel it inside of you, because oh, my grandmother was a witch or something, that doesn't make you an occultist either. The fact that you practice Wicca doesn't actually make you a witch. Actually, it makes you a cult member that is part of a group, possibly diaspora, off of the original works of Gardner, who basically took some elements of paganism writ large. And
what do you think so far?
To see priestess boobies jiggling around a bonfire, and so he created
I can't hear any of this. So
you can't hear any of it.
Tendencies. In fact, there's a lot of Victorianism I've noticed in so-called magic these days, like the term vibes, for example, vibrations. You realize that you're basically echoing Blavatsky, right? The early wave theosophists, like we're talking late 19th century. They don't even know. They have no clue about history. They cracked open one or two books on, Wiccan hedge Wicca spells or something. They think that makes them an occult master or something like that. Of course, Trump is under various protection. Who do you think is supplying it? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm not the only one. That's because, some of us actually know what we're doing, actually understand the premise of the occult. Call me back when you've edited 400 or 500 different works on magical systems, folklore, botany, and things like that. Then we can talk then on an even keel. I don't have any problem with people practicing like the dabbly-do hedge Wicca stuff. But burning herbs in a metal pot under the moonlight does not make you a witch. Dabbling with tarot cards does not make you a witch. You're not a warlock because you have a grimoire. You have to actually understand what you're reading. You have to understand the search for truth. You have to understand the search for knowledge. And you have to put it into practice. You also have to have a great deal of self-awareness. It pays to understand psychology and linguistics, by the way. Linguistics especially, because keep in mind, the term grimoire is taken off of the term grammar. A spell is literally to spell. It's nothing more than a bunch of words with a meaning and an intent behind them to focus energy and spirits and things like that. And read all sorts of crazy shit. Links in the description of my book's blogs. If you want some crazy shit, there's plenty there. Some of it's more useful than the rest. I like dream interpretation, herb lore. I like high ritual magic as well. But when I see people trying to cast some nouveau binding ritual that dates to the 1990s and was created by someone who simply wanted to make a cheap buck at the local bookstore, that does not make you an occultist. You don't know anything about magic. You have no fucking clue what you're talking about. These people, I've got more magic in my little pinky than all of these people combined. It's incredible how they can take one another in. They sort of form a collective consciousness. It's almost like they're screaming out to be unique. And so they don't want to be like the Muggles, so to speak. And so they declare themselves a witch or warlock or wizard or whatever. I'm a sorcerer. I'm a sorceress. No, you're not. It's fine for you to dabble in these things, but you remind me of the Victorians with their parlor games. The Ouija board, the tarot card, stuff like that is popularized partially because people were fucking bored. And then you have the spirit wrapping movement and all of these other things that none of these people appear to know anything about. If you don't understand broadly history in the medical context, in the psychological context, in the generally occult context, in the context of illusionism and things like that, if you don't understand the history of these things, and understand more broadly how they interconnect and how they've evolved over time, and they loop over and over again. The terminology and practices of the Victorian era disappear for a while. They come back in the 60s with the flower power hippie shit. They disappear for a while. More recently, late 2000s especially, with the promulgation of occult literature, they're coming back again. I talk about this in Fruits of Eden, second edition, forthcoming at some point next year. And they don't understand any of these things. Well, then how can you say that you're involved with magic? You don't even know the pedigree of the magic that you're practicing. You don't even know these people. Never even seen half of them. Hell, now you'll have another generation of magic written by AI probably or something like that, and that'll destroy it forever. You got to understand the classics. You've got to understand antiquity. You have to understand anthropology. You have to understand astronomy. All of these different wonderful things that you should be delving into anyway. Gemology and geology. Botany, certainly. Mycology, the study of mushrooms and stuff. Expand your mind a little bit more instead of slipping into the echo chamber of, well, I've got all 3 books in the series by, Lucifer Witchhaven or something like. Okay, that's wonderful. I'm sure it's very, very entertaining. Now conduct those rituals, and unless you're fooling yourself with the placebo effect into thinking that there's been some effect on another person, I don't think anything's going to happen. I'm sure that Donald Trump is very amused by the fact that you just burned a bunch of henbane seeds in a cauldron under the half moon at exactly 8 o'clock in the afternoon while chanting arcane verses. I'm very sure that he's frightened about the fact that you take the Necronomicon fully seriously instead of just semi-seriously. It's wonderful. But more authentic users of magic, I think, tilt against the kind of centralized hierarchical structures that tend to be promoted by left-wing politics. I've spoken of this before. If you're going to have a search for truth, you're going to have individualism. You've got to do it yourself. You can take off and use as a springboard all sorts of other stuff, and you have to take initiative. You, the individual, have to take initiative to do that study. Then you can promote your own mind's development. You can think critically about things. You can see connections where you didn't see them before. Oh, it's fascinating. It'll open your eyes. You'll never see the world the same way again. By the way, it is a little bit like taking the red pill on steroids. You're not going to be able to forget it once you start noticing, so to speak. But no, I mean, it's perfectly harmless fun. You're casting tarot cards on Trump to see his fortune. You've studied his star chart, and now Ravencroft's book is in your lap, and you're chanting a couple of charms to try to bind his power or something like that. It's not going to work, dude. Those of us who actually practice the occult, we laugh at you. We find you amusing more than anything else. You're like those little monkeys, the organ grinder monkeys, dancing around with the little red hats on and, grinding the organ. Harmless, amusing, but ultimately it's fucking pointless now, isn't it? It's not actually magic any more than the monkey is actually writing its own music. It's just grinding an organ. That's basically a perfect metaphor for the armchair occultists / dabblers / wannabe Wiccans. Some of them don't even understand those paths. Like you have somebody, oh, I'm a Wiccan. Okay. What are the tenets of your Wicca? What do you actually do? Well, I'm in tune with nature. Okay, that's fine. So am I. I don't claim that I'm a Wiccan as the result of this. So yeah, Trump is under occult protection, absolutely, by multiple people, including some that I'm aware of myself personally, not just myself. But we actually practice these things and understand what we're doing, and that's probably what you're running up against. So you can fling all the spells that you want. It's not going to do anything. That's about all. Peace out.
So you didn't hear any of that?
No, not a word.
It was awesome. He basically schooled. He went over the history of occult stuff, and he explained certain people are protecting Trump on the astral realm. They're casting wards of protection around him. Wink, wink. He said that. He said wink, wink. And he laughs. He laughs at the witches on Reddit trying to curse Donald Trump.
Crashing out on the Reddit witches?
Yep, he crashed out hardcore. He basically schooled them. He put them in their place. He said they didn't even understand. Try translating 500 occult books. They don't even understand the pedigree of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, he has an awful lot of books on the occult. I searched him before. He's got like 100 books on like the occult and Satanism and stuff.
That's true. He also has like some of the only like there's certain Charles Manson interviews he has on his channel that aren't you can't find them elsewhere. I mean, now you probably can, but
Is,
for a
is he
while.
cast? So he's casting protective spells for Donald Trump. Is
Yep.
That's the gist of it?
Yeah, that was the gist of it. And he was very amused. I thought that the video is very enjoyable because there was a sense of amusement and a sort of bewildered chuckling at the witches who thought they could get through the protective spells of a real wizard when they were just low-level Wiccans. So I just thought it was a great Halloween themed video and interesting food for thought.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything to say about it because I couldn't hear any of the video.
And you don't want him to put a curse on you. There is somebody in chat that's gonna use a voodoo doll on me. They're mad at me.
He's incredibly productive, Styx, isn't he? Like he's got the $100 and he makes like 4 videos a day. I don't know what his schedule is now, but the last time I checked, he was doing like 4 daily videos. Like one was like a BitChute exclusive. It
works.
YouTube, and then you do like a live stream as well.
Stolas has blessed him.
You've got a lot to discuss if you're like very into the kind of day-to-day politics of Trump and the occult. There's a lot of material there. That's
true. Keep you busy. Then they say idle hands are the devil's plaything, and we saw that. But yeah, no, I agree. I think I wouldn't want to be a Reddit witch. If I was a Reddit witch and saw that, I'd be like, this is a wizard's battle, and I'm just a low-level Wiccan. I got to step back. But really, when you look at the election in those terms, and you think about Trump dodging the bullet, and you have to say to yourself, is this an election or is this kind of a wizard's battle? This is kind of I'm a muggle. I can't compete. I really have no say here. This is literally just on the astral realm. There's satanic forces, demonic forces, demoniacs roaming the streets, witches, covens, that sort of thing going on.
What was the controversy there with Styx recently about allegations of violence towards women? Do you know anything about that?
Apparently he was like in some trouble. Apparently, I think he laid hands on somebody, but I don't know personally if I buy it. Also, I don't really personally care, honestly. Far be it from me to, who let us who have not done horrible things get upset at it. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, honestly, but I don't also want him to curse me. I already have somebody in chat using a voodoo doll trying to hurt me, trying to make me suffer. So I can't deal with another curse.